Alright, I got quite the mess going on here, but I'm working on a bracket for my PCM, and I'll show you where that's going to sit when I'm all done with it. I'll show you. Just going to bolt up. This is actually part of the box that came with my cold air intake. I never use these boxes. I think they're ugly and they never really fit, so repurpose it for something else. It's pretty straightforward. Basically, you got all your power wires here. 4 of them are K20, and the other 2, this one here is actually going to be my OBD2 port, which I think I'll run inside the truck, put it under the dash. And then this is my PCM battery constant. So these 2 are battery constant, these 4 are K20, and I got them running off of a relay. You don't really need a relay, but I just put one on. And then this is my fuel pump relay. See, most of the wiring is done. This is my bank 1 O2 sensor, bank 2 O2 sensor over there. I don't know if I already showed this or not, but there's my computer sitting down in there. It's kind of nice. It's probably one of the better places I've put a computer. Usually I slap them right on the fender and they're out in the open, everybody can see them, but this is kind of nice. It's tucked away in here under, on the side of the battery here. It looks nice. I usually try to make the wiring pretty neat, so this is coming out pretty good. This could be a little neater here, but once I get it all loomed up and stuff, it'll look fine. I've seen worse. So I'm waiting on my pigtail for the temperature sensor here, coolant temp sensor, and also waiting on the sensor itself, which goes right in there. Can't really see it, but right where that hole is right there. One thing I forgot to get at the pick and pull, so I had to order one. Yeah, waiting on that. It's really almost done, the wiring part of it. I think the next thing I'm going to do is work on the dash and try and get those gauges all plumbed and wired, and just get the wiring wrapped up in general so I can move on to other things. I've got to build the exhaust. I got to take the vacuum in here and vacuum out some of these mouse nests in the heater vents. That's why that one didn't blow out and the other ones did, because it's full of mouse nests in there. So this truck sat around a lot, very neglected, and didn't really, well, let's see, the inspection sticker from Missouri was last on the road in 2018, I guess, so not that long, but long enough to, get the dang critters all in it. So about time for an update. Working on a lot of wiring. Working on the dash, just working on all kinds of stuff at once here. Got my OBD2 port installed. I even fixed my 4-wheel drive light right here. I had a bunch of broken mouse chewed up wires. This right here is going to be my engine light, the ground control from the PCM, and then we got K20 power. So that is ready to put the dash back in. I will be tidying up this wiring and looming stuff later on. Working on the dash here. You can see I have my gauges installed. I got these from O'Reilly's. Mechanical oil and water temp gauge. So that's that. I cut some holes in the back here to have access and also run that through. And there's that. That'll wrap around to my adapter that goes in the back of the head there for mechanical gauge. And that's not going to fit over it, so I'll cut that out. I'm even going to have to trim a little bit of this too back here. Trim this part down a little bit. I don't really feel bad about it. One thing I'm not going to do is cut the dash out for a later aftermarket radio. When I put a radio in it, I'm going to go with the old school looking radio with the, you know, new internals. Alright, update you guys here. Cold air intake is on. I've got a filter from that truck spare I'm going to be putting on here once I find it, and just got a cap on there for now, and so I don't damage the MAF sensor. It's all plugged in. I've been working on the exhaust. Got the passenger side done this far. Got it curved up like that. Got a hanger right there, very close. Probably not even a 1/4 inch there, and not even a 1/4 inch to the transfer case, but I got it braced really good so it won't move and knock on that and make bad noises, make you think that the engine's knocking. Right there, welded it there. Use the original collector, and I got the O2 sensor up there screwed in. I'm gonna put another hanger right here to stiffen it up even more. This is where my muffler's gonna go. Working on the driver's side now, a little more complicated because you got the clutch linkage to deal with, but basically all I'm gonna have to do here is I cut this all apart, and I'm gonna have to clock this O2 sensor in a different position because it runs right into the clutch linkage. So basically I'm just gonna turn it, re-weld it, and then I gotta figure out this part of it. It's gonna have to be a different angle as well. I'll show you what the dash looked like. I never did a video on that. Turned out pretty good. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Got everything back together in here. Got red lights, red backlights on those gauges. Look pretty good. I had to trim the back of the gauge here. I didn't have to trim it quite as much as I thought I did, but that's alright. Evenly cut, that's what, you know, that's all that matters. Looks pretty decent. This light right here is my engine light. I had to put some little, that was just one of those penny lights from Walmart, the bright yellow ones, and I put a couple of the extra little rubber things over it that came with these gauges to dim it down. Now it's just a dim blue glow, so it won't be blinding you at night if the engine light's on. The gas gauge seems to be working because it's down on E, and before, when all the wires are broken with the old gas tank and stuff, it was up to full, so I think it's working properly. Even got 4-wheel drive light I showed earlier. This is what it looks like in the gauge. So that's all working. I hooked up my OBD2 code reader, and it hooked up to the computer and told me there was some emissions codes on there, so I know that's all working. That's great. It's usually what I worry about, is not being able to connect to the PCM. You can have some problems with that sometimes, you know, and it can be a number of different things, bad PCM, whatever, but it seems to be working just fine. So really all that's needed to make this thing run now is to hook up HP tuners and remove the VATs and the emission stuff, and then it should run. But I want to finish the exhaust and get everything wrapped up and wrap up the cooling system and all that. That's usually what I do, just get it all wrapped up. I got my tow mirrors installed because I'm actually going to be using this truck like a truck. A lot of people take these off and put the stock ones on, or the, you know, whatever, those ones on. But I'm doing the opposite here because I'm going to be pulling a trailer and stuff, and it's nice to be able to see behind you. Working on cutting off this hitch that somebody built right here. It's really putting up a fight. I'm really surprised those crappy welds are hanging on as good as they are. I got shocks in the mail, and apparently I didn't measure properly because those are for like a truck with a 12-inch lift, so I gotta send those back. Alright, I was successfully able to adjust the clutch. I got lots of travel now, so I think that's gonna work just fine. I just got my throttle linkage installed. I had to get a longer one off of eBay. This was like 20 bucks or something like that, because obviously the original one's way too short, and that worked out good. I used the factory bracket and worked out good. Just goes through the firewall in the original location right there, and I got full throttle, so that's good. Always need full throttle. So I think at this point what I'm gonna do before I call it a day is maybe get that top cover, plastic cover, to fit on there. I might have to trim it a little bit. Alright, here's what the exhaust is looking like. Got them all measured out and nice and equal and similar on both sides. Looking the same. Just got to run it over the axle and out under the rear bumper. But first I'm going to put my hitch on so I know where that's going to be, so I don't run into that. I want to show you all the exhaust before it gets dark here. There it is. I don't remember what I filmed last. I've just been busy working on this thing, trying to get it done. But got the hitch on. That turned out really good. Class 4 hitch, 16,000 pound capacity. I think it's a 1,600 pound tongue weight capacity. Got my exhaust run out. I spent a ridiculous amount of time, pretty much all day Sunday, well, I should say half the day Sunday, getting these straight. So I didn't get to working on this thing until about noon. Got a pretty late start. So I spent all day trying to get this stuff straight and look nice, and it definitely paid off. It looks good. Probably one of the better, if not the best, exhaust systems I've built. It's nice and strong. It's got three hangers per side. Those two, these two, one there, one over there. I just stole a pigtail from the Buick. Yeah, I literally went over there and cut this off of the Buick because I'm not patient enough to wait for the pigtail that I ordered to come in the mail. It was supposed to be here a week ago, and dummy me did not look before I ordered it. You know, I order everything on eBay, and I always make sure, most of the time, make sure that it's coming from a distributor in the United States. So I ordered this pigtail, did not check, and of course it's coming from like somewhere, you know, Ching-Chang, China somewhere, and taking forever. And this is literally the last thing I need to make this thing run. So ran out of patience. I went and cut this off, and then whenever I get the other one in the mail, I'll just put it on the Buick, call it a day. So I'm gonna get this on, soldered in place, you know, get it all ready to go. See what happens. There it is, it's running. Doesn't sound very good right now, but you know, it's cold. I can hear the lifters clattering, but that's just normal. Well, you guys heard it run. Sounds okay. Has the typical 5.3 lifter tick. But if you guys remember, some of you OGs, well, I guess it wasn't that long ago when I built the Buick. When I first started that engine, it sounded pretty terrible, and it cleared up and it ended up being a great running engine. It still runs great to this day. That was over a year ago. Still runs good. Drove it halfway across the country. So I'm hoping that this thing will clear out a little bit. I might put some snake oil in there, you know, some Marvel mystery oil. And this is one of those engines that never was maintained. It was pretty obvious when I took the oil pan off that the oil was never changed. So it could just be the lifters are kind of gummed up. So I'll run some Marvel mystery oil through it and see if it'll clear up a little bit. But it's not horrible. Definitely going to be a good runner. Has good oil pressure, and not the end of the world if I got to replace lifters. It's just a pain on these engines. You know, you got to pull the head off, but should be all right. And working on the drive shaft, front drive shaft right now, putting a new U-joint in it, and then I'll do the rear drive shaft, stick those in, and then we'll see if this thing moves and drives. Alright, I know y'all want to see it move as much as I do. I'm going to pull it down on that little hill out there where it slopes down with that slab out there, and I'm going to try to bleed the cooling system out. It's a little sketchy. The brakes, the parking brake just barely holds it on this hill. I put the chalk block behind it just to be safe, but right now I gotta try to bleed this cooling system out. It's pretty important. Get all the coolant running through the steam ports and everything. actually. The lifter is a lot quieter. I put like 3/4 of a container of Marvel Mystery Oil in there. It's running really good right now. Alright guys, I got the bed back on. Painted the frame. I don't know if I showed the frame painted or not. I don't remember. But painted the frame up and put the new shocks on. I'm going to be replacing these old dry rotted tires very soon. I'll be painting these wheels white. Polished up the hubcaps. They were pretty dirty and all foggy and stuff, so eventually I'm going to buff this paint and see if I can make it look better. Yeah, I'm pretty much back to where I was before I did the swap. And then some, like I got my hitch now. Actual hitch. I like the way the exhaust looks. So I'm about ready to take this thing down the road and see how it does. I got my tool bag just in case. Well, it's running pretty good. The light's flashing, engine light's flashing, but I already looked that up and it's a PO300 code, so random misfire, not sure why. Probably just gotta let the computer work itself out. But well guys, the maiden voyage didn't go so well. It was running great, but then now I can't get it started again. So it started, it definitely has spark because it was fired up, but now it just won't do anything now. It turns over but it won't start. Well, I did eventually make it. The truck didn't make it. I had to get my brother over here, and thankfully I was really close to where I was going. Literally just across the street from where I work here. And I was on my way over here to where I work so I can get this work truck because I'm taking it out of town to do some training tomorrow, Monday morning. So I got the truck here though, just flat towed it over here. Still don't know what's wrong with it. I jumped the fuel pump to see if it was working, and the fuel pump's definitely working. There's definitely fuel pressure. So not really sure. It's got to be sensor related. I'm thinking maybe throttle position sensor, because when it was running the little while it did, when I restarted it after coming out of the store, it ran rough and it wouldn't rev up. It was just idling, and even if you stepped on the gas all the way to the floor, it wouldn't do anything. So I'm thinking throttle position sensor. I'm gonna look into it and hopefully get it running again here soon. But anyway, stay tuned. See ya.